Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos receives a written message from His Excellency the President of Algeria, handed to His Highness Sayyid As'ad bin Tariq Al Said when he received the personal envoy of the Algerian President. In response to royal orders, the Sultanate, in coordination with Yemeni sides, secures evacuation of the US mission to Yemen on humanitarian reasons. And Financial Affairs and Energy Resources Council views developments of oil prices and its effects on the general budget. Those were the headlines, and now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has received a written message from His Excellency President Abdelaziz Bouteflika of Algeria related to the good relations binding the two countries and matters of common concern. The message was received on behalf of His Majesty the Sultan by His Highness Sayyid As'ad bin Tariq Al Said when he received in his office this morning His Excellency Al Tayyib Luh, Minister of Justice, Keeper of the Seals, personal envoy of the Algerian President, and his delegation. During the meeting, they viewed relations of cooperation in various fields and ways of strengthening them for serving joint interests of the Omani and Algerian people.
يعني هناك في مناطق تشبه عمان بالضبط. النخيل والافلاج والناس الصحراء. ايوه.
His Excellency Al Tayyib Luh, Minister of Justice, Keeper of the Seals, personal envoy of the Algerian President, said that his consultations in the Sultanate come within the context of coordinating stands between the two countries in light of global political and economic changes, including oil price decrease, and the Arab region is witnessing disputes topped by oil market and collapse of petroleum prices. He said that he conveyed greetings of His Excellency the President of Algeria, of cordial and brotherly greetings to His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, and he added that His Highness asked him to convey greetings of His Majesty to His Excellency the President and His Majesty's best wishes to Algeria, leadership and people of continued success and progress. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs today issued a statement about the evacuation of the US mission in Yemen. The statement reads as follows: in response to the royal orders of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos to assist the American side in the evacuation of the US diplomatic mission in Yemen for humanitarian reasons. The Sultanate, in coordination with the Yemeni sides, yesterday secured and facilitated the evacuation process and the transfer of members of the mission to the Sultanate by a plane of the Royal Air Force of Oman. Those evacuees left the Sultanate to their country on the same day. Financial Affairs and Energy Resources Council viewed developments of oil prices and evolvements in the global oil market and their effects on the general budget. At a meeting held today and chaired by His Excellency Darwish bin Ismail Al-Balushi, Minister responsible for Financial Affairs and Deputy Chairman of Financial Affairs and Energy Resources Council, discussed the position of implementing precautionary measures adopted towards states' general budget for the current year to face the oil price decrease, safety and stability of the state's financial position, containing the deficit in acceptable levels, and means of covering the deficit. The Council also tackled a number of matters, among them a report presented by the Ministry of Oil and Gas on natural gas reserves and aspects of their use. Classifying vocational certificates in the Sultanate, their descriptions and proposals related to that, topped matters discussed by the Civil Service Council in its meeting today, which was chaired by His Excellency Sheikh Khalid bin Omar Al Marhoon, Minister of Civil Service and Deputy Chairman of the Civil Service Council. The meeting viewed a proposal put up by Institute of Public Administrations on offering a number of specialized training programs in administrative and financial fields and preparing of administrative leaders, in addition to training plans for government units which apply civil service law for the current year. The Council also viewed a number of matters forwarded to it by various government units and related to organising occupational situations for some categories. The activities of the 5th Pharmaceutical Care Conference were concluded. The event was organised by the Ministry of Health under the theme Improving and Evolving Pharmacy Practice. It came up with several recommendations that focused on the significance of developing cadres in the field and upgrading the pharmaceutical services provided to health establishments and patients. The conference called for training pharmacists in the field of leadership and management, introducing programs for the use of antibiotics in hospitals, funding scientific solutions that include planning to solve the problem of shortage in medicines and enhancing the role of pharmacists in primary healthcare establishments. Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry organised a seminar on information systems and security. It aimed to shed light on information security, electronic threats faced by establishments in the world, and increasing development in modern technologies and their impacts on daily life. The work papers presented during the seminar focused on spreading awareness on electronic threats and ensure information security in various transactions and protect them from e-hacking and e-piracy. Muscat Securities Market MSM General Index today added 2.64 points, comprising a rise by 0.04% to close at 6,657 points. The trading value stood at 6.9 million Omani Riyals, comprising a rise by 3.79% compared to the last session, which stood at 6.65 million Riyals. The report released by MSM pointed out that the market value fell by 0.06% to reach about 15.98 billion Omani Riyals. Still to come in our news bulletin. A variety of natural flowers were displayed at the first flower exhibition at Opera Galleria. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. As US President Barack Obama asks Congress for permission to deploy special forces in the fight against Daesh group, Iraq's foreign minister said Baghdad has not asked for ground forces. Dr. Ibrahim Al-Ja'fari in Canberra today for talks with Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop thanked Prime Minister Tony Abbott for Australia's support for the international coalition fighting the spread of the militant organisation. Obama's plan allows for ground combat operations, including hostage rescues and the use of special forces. But Bishop said Australia has no plans to expand its role in Iraq. Al-Ja'fari said the message that Iraq gave to the Security Council at the beginning of the conference never included a request for ground forces to enter Iraqi territory to conduct such operations. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas met with EU top politicians in Brussels to find support for his cause of having European countries recognize a Palestinian state and to discuss a possible resumption of peace negotiations with Israel. Abbas first met EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker, followed by talks with EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini. Palestinians seek statehood in the Israeli-occupied West Bank and the blockaded Gaza Strip, with East Jerusalem as their capital. They have sought to sidestep stalled peace talks by lobbying foreign powers to recognize their sovereignty claim. A total of 135 countries recognize Palestine, including several East European nations that did so before they joined the EU. U.S. Treasury Secretary Jacob Jack Lew discussed today opportunities for manufacturing and infrastructure in India at a meeting with the Indian Finance Minister. Speaking in the capital, New Delhi, Lew said the untapped potential in the U.S.-India economic relationship is enormous. He said that only 2% of America's imports came from India and only 1% of America's exports go to India. Lew is on a two-day visit to the country. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi arrived in Islamabad today to hold talks with the Pakistani leadership. In a joint news conference with Pakistan's National Security Advisor, Yi said China supported the broad-based and inclusive political reconciliation in Afghanistan, which included the Taliban. Yi said the planned Pakistan-China economic corridor would provide a framework for cooperation between the two countries. He said the project would benefit all of Pakistan. Yi announced that President Xi Jinping would visit Pakistan this year. Sahara Industrial Estate has witnessed a considerable growth in projects and investment. It hosted today members of Municipal Council in the Governorate of North Bartana, who visited some factories at the estate, such as Gulf International Pipe Industry, National Detergents Company and Al-Maha Ceramics Company. The visit came to get acquainted with the volume of investments and available job opportunities at the estate. The total area of Sahara Industrial Estate amounts to 21 million square meters, with 221 projects and investments of 1.67 billion Omani Riyals. A variety of natural flowers were displayed at the first flower exhibition at Opera Galleria. The three-day exhibition showcases various types of natural Dutch flowers, which are well known for its beauty and odour. The event is being organised by Muna bint Mohammed al-Balushi, who displayed different bouquets of flowers. Now for the general weather forecast. Clear to partly cloudy skies will prevail over the Governorate of Musandam and the Hajar Mountains. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies. Winds along the coastal areas of Sea of Oman will be easterly to northeasterly light to moderate, while it will be southeasterly light to moderate along the rest of the Sultanate. Seas will be slight to moderate along the southeastern coast with a maximum wave height of 2 meters, while it will be slight along the rest of the coast with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos receives a written message from His Excellency the President of Algeria, handed to His Highness Syed Asad bin Tariq Al Said when he received the personal envoy of the Algerian President. In response to royal orders, the Sultanate, in coordination with the Yemeni side, secures evacuation of the US mission to Yemen on humanitarian reasons. And Financial Affairs and Energy Resources Council views developments of oil prices and its effects on the general budget. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.